topics, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jose. We appreciate you as always. I wanted to address something that seemed to get a number of you upset, worried, concerned. I noticed I was broadcasting from the Ridgefield training room last week after moving out of the Ridgefield training room, which had become my de facto office for the last 18 months. I'm now back in my office. But a number of you reached out after some broadcasts from that room last week, very, very concerned about Wilson. And so I wanted to at least make Wilson's whereabouts known. He did make the move with me. He hasn't been cast aside. He is not a castaway. So he is still around. And the reason he came with me is because what most of you do not know is that during the 18 months that Wilson kept me sane in the Ridgefield training room as we were broadcasting to you, he also became my napkin holder. So my napkins from my lunch now sit in the pedestal of Wilson's thing there. So I needed to move him with me to my new office. So no fear, Wilson is fine. I just wanted to make sure that everyone was brought up to speed on that, because I cannot tell you how many. I hope to God that if I go missing for a day or two, as many people reach out to somebody and say, hey, what happened to Rick, as many people did about Wilson. I strive to have the relationship with you that Wilson seems to have with you. So anyway, moving on. Thank you for caring. He is fine and he is with me. As you may have remembered from last week and the week before, we've been pitching to you a new format for these 9 a.m.s. That will officially start on Monday. We had to rethink launching it on Tuesday of this week for a number of different reasons. So that will pop up. Watch for information over the course of the next few days on the new format. We are still having our 9 o'clock Zooms, just with a slightly different twist. Today at 1 o'clock, last month I did a kind of an impromptu Ask Rick Almost Anything, and the attendance and the questions and everything about that 45-minute session was really kind of awesome. And so I decided to do another one today. So today at 1 o'clock, anybody who has any kind of question about business, about listings, about buyers, about putting transactions together, about being a real estate agent, about wealth building, about your taxes, about almost anything, come in at 1 o'clock today, and I will be happy to answer any question that you might have. It can be specific or general. It can be related to a specific client, whatever it makes sense for you. That's the forum to grab my ear for 45 minutes or so, and let's have some one-on-one time. So see you at 1 o'clock right here on this Zoom channel. Tomorrow, do not forget, 11 a.m., our very first sales rally of the fall. We've been off for a number of months. I think our last sales rally was back in the late spring. So we want to make sure that everyone jumps in and participates. You can do that one of two ways. You can show up either to 2777 Summer Street or 404 Main Street. We will be having watch parties in both Market Center locations with lunch afterwards. So if you are enticed by a free meal, do make sure that you pop on into one of those two spaces for an 11 o'clock start tomorrow. For those of you who will not be joining us in person, we will be broadcasting everything via Zoom. So don't hesitate to jump on a few minutes before 11. We do have a special guest in James Shaw who's joining us right in the early part of our sales meeting. So do not be late. For the fact that tomorrow is the sales rally, there will be no 9 a.m. Zoom. We want to kind of save everybody's Zoom time for that sales rally. So no 9 a.m. Zoom tomorrow. We'll see you for the first time just before 11 for the sales rally. All right, I think that's my announcements for the day. As many of you know, and many of you have been watching and perhaps even attending, the U.S. Tennis Open is happening right now in Flushing Meadow at the Billie Jean King Tennis Center in New York. And we are in week 2. We're getting down to the nitty gritty, right? We're getting through the quarterfinals, setting up the semifinals to start happening tomorrow. and lots of different excitements happening. And I will tell you that for the first time in a really long time at a tennis Grand Slam event, of which there are 4 per year, there's a lot of just new and exciting talent, a lot of new blood, a lot of unknown people who are really making a massively big impression, hanging around into the second week, taking out top players. And I've been watching intently, not just for enjoyment purposes, but to kind of watch what they're thinking, how they think, how a lot of these players, both seasoned and newer to the game, craft their craft to operate at the highest level possible. And I've taken some notes, and I wanted to share them with you this morning. And so this is my business lessons learned from the 2021 US Open. The first thing I've learned is that new people create new challenges and new opportunities to learn and grow and adapt from, right? Think about how that shows up in your business, right? What new happens in your business and how do you react to it? Do you think, oh, goodness, that's not the way I do it. Oh, somebody else new competition. Oh, somebody else. Oh, something else. Or do you say, wow, that's kind of a neat opportunity I have now to figure it out, right? That's a cool new opportunity, a new challenge I have to learn and grow and adapt to what's being thrown at me, right? I will tell you that I've watched a number of seasoned players have to grow and adapt right in the middle of a match because some of these new young guns who have shown up started throwing things at them that it took them a whole couple of games or the whole first set. Many of them lost the first set because they had to figure out new and adapt and change to be able to climb back on top. And I will tell you this, there are a number of seasoned players who chose not to adapt to what they were being faced with because they were just going to play their game. Guess what? Most of them who chose not to adapt aren't around anymore. They're not vying for the title when some of these newer players are. So make sure that you recognize that new isn't, don't run away from that. Lean into it and challenge yourself to figure it out because it's all new. Everything's changing every single day, right? One of the new players is a young lady. She's 18 years old from Great Britain. And she said something in one of her press conferences that kind of struck me. And she said, you know, what I learned when I lost at Wimbledon was ... And I thought to myself, wow, at 18, that's an amazing statement, right? She didn't say, wah, wah, I didn't win Wimbledon. She didn't say, wah, wah, this is what happened to me. What she brought away was, here's what I learned. And it was an important lesson. What she learned at Wimbledon is that she had to stay way more focused on her fitness than she thought. Because it's not just about hitting balls and big serves, right? What she learned by playing in her first major Grand Slam was that she needed to have legs to make sure that she could outrun her opponents when pushed. So I just loved that whole concept, what I learned when I lost at Wimbledon, right? I would challenge you to use that phrase. What did you learn the last time a listing didn't go your way? What did you learn the last time you struggled with a buyer? What did you learn the last time X happened? Right? Because remember, you either win or you learn. There is no other outcome. I've been hearing a lot about what's been going on in the locker rooms, right? And what I've been hearing about what's going on in the locker rooms is that there is hunger and belief in the locker rooms for the first time in a really long time, right? That hunger and belief. Now, a big part of that is that a lot of the big names that if I said them, you would know, aren't at the US Open this year, right? Roger Federer, Serena Williams, Rafa Nadal, right? Ash Barty, who's the #1 player in the world on the women's side, she was eliminated already, right? So there's this hunger, but also now this belief among all these other players who perhaps for the first time in their either young careers or continuing careers, look at the opportunity, look at the field and say, I could do that. And that has translated into something that has been said over and over and over again. I don't know if it came from a player or from a commentator, And it's the thought of, why not me? And why not now? And so I pass that along to you today. Why not you? Why not now? Tennis is all about the numbers. Oh, gee, I wonder where I'm going with that one. Right? You think that tennis is about hitting the ball back and forth and scoring points. It actually isn't about that at all. What tennis is about is the ratio between winners that you hit versus unforced errors that you make. That ratio determines your results. Tennis is about your first serve percentage points won versus your second serve percentage points won. It's all about the numbers, because when the numbers line up and you focus on the activities that drive those numbers, guess what shows up? Results. So I make that point to you because in our world, it's a listings taking, contracts written, income earned conversation. If you focus on the activities that drive those numbers and those numbers show up positively, guess what? You make money. You can't not make money. That's the idea of the numbers. So stay really focused on that. Last two things. I noticed that every single player has multiple coaches. There's a head coach. There's an assistant coach. There's a physical coach. There's a sports psychologist that many of them travel with. In other words, a mindset coach. There's a hitting partner, right? And so what's the business lesson we have to pull away from that? No one succeeds alone. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Who is coaching you? Who's your hitting partner? Who's your mindset coach? Who's watching your business from outside, telling you the things that you need to hear, which maybe aren't the things that you want to hear, about how you can improve to get a better result? That's what coaches are all about. Figure that out and find someone in your world to get into a coaching relationship with. I got one more for you. Jensen Brooksby is one of those new up-and-comers, right? He's 20 years old. He's now been eliminated by Novak Djokovic, the #1 player on the men's side. And he said something when he was playing Novak Djokovic the other night, that he did two things. He said something and he did something that just kind of stunned me for a 20-year-old who was making all these waves, took out a bunch of top-ranked players, was now playing the #1 player in the world in like the fourth round or the quarterfinals, whatever it was. And the first thing he did that really wowed me was during a changeover in between sets, he sat down, he went into his bag, and he took out his little notes, this folded up piece of paper, and he started to read the notes that he had made himself to remember what he had to focus on and what he had to do. Right? It reminds me of that story that Jeannie Kassendorf told us a long time ago when she was memorizing her closes, right? When she was sitting at a listing table and she had kind of forgotten the closes, but they were on a piece of paper in her purse. So she figured out a way to kind of open up her purse and check out the notes that she had made for herself to be able to close and take that listing, right? So Jeannie, I was thinking about you watching that tennis match the other night. But there he was reading his notes to himself to remind him about his mindset and the activities and what he was there to accomplish. I loved that about that kid. And then here's where I'll leave you. He won the first set. Now remember, in Grand Slams, the men play a best of 5 sets. He won the first set. He lost the second set. After he lost the second set, on the changeover, he sat down and he looked over at his coach. And what he said to his coach was, I only have to win 2 more sets. He didn't say, I still have to win 2 more sets. He very objectively said, I only have to win 2 more sets. That focus on the activities required to win just floored me. He wasn't distracted by the size of that task. He wasn't distracted by the fact that he was playing the #1 player in the world. He was simply making a statement objectively to his coach. Well, I've won one, I've lost one. I now just have to win 2 more sets. Let's get back out there and get that done. At 20 years old. So guys, I don't know about you, but I hope you're hearing business lessons in all of these things. And I encourage you, when you're watching sports or you're watching a movie or think about how the things that are happening in that scenario, you can take away and push in your business by the things that you see and learn from. Guys, I hope this was helpful to you today. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the rest of your US Open. We will see you right back here at 1 o'clock if you're in session for Ask Rick Anything, and 11 o'clock tomorrow morning for our sales rally. Have a great day. Bye-bye.